Okay, so I think we're live.
I do believe I see it saying live and recording in a red and blue highlight at the top left of the screen. So I believe we're good to go.
All right. Well, this is going to be trial by fire for everybody that's paying attention. I don't know how well this is going to go, uh, but I guess we'll see. So, my name's Jason, Stacks Farmstead, YouTube, Rumble, and on X. Give us a follow, give us a share. If anybody is in the comments, say so. I think there's something going on with Rumble. Either way, we're on YouTube, I think. Uh, okay, so this is my friend Drew. Uh, we're just gonna talk to Drew and get a rundown about him. He has an interesting story about a lot of different stuff that I've only recently become privy to on some of it, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I thought it would make for an interesting first interview for what I'm trying to do. Uh, Drew, why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you're doing? You got some DJ stuff in the background there, so tell everybody what you do.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me, Jason. My name is Drew, as Jason said. I also go by Luminary, which is my artistry tag. I'm a mixing and mastering engineer, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York City, my entire life. Um, Jack of many trades other than that, but that's what I'm best known for. So yeah, what you see in the background is just a glimpse at my home recording studio. Been a mixing and mastering engineer for 20 plus years. Went to audio engineering school, all that kind of stuff. Uh, I guess anything particular, any direction you want me to go down in terms of
Where you?
topics?
Let's do this. Where are you from? Like, what do you? Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up, born and raised in Gravesend, Brooklyn, New York City, which is a small section of Brooklyn wedged right in between Coney Island and Bensonhurst. Sometimes people mistook it as Bensonhurst, but it's not. It's its own little private sector of Brooklyn that not many people know about, and it was named Gravesend due to a lot of the cemeteries that were there, going back in the early 1900s. And there's other deeper meanings to it. I know people who are also from Gravesend will want to jump in and correct me and say it was named after this person or that person for this reason, but that's the short of it. That's the short of it.
Uh, Graves End. Is that what you're saying? Like gravestones?
Yes, Gravesend.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, where I grew up in Lawrenceville, the it's a you've been there before, I believe, but
Yeah, yeah.
there's a massive cemetery in the middle of Lawrenceville. It could have its own zip code. That's how big it is. I mean, there's wildlife running around there.
Wow.
We grew up partying in that place. Like it was crazy. It never got patrolled by the police. Uh,
I could
so
imagine.
like no
That's
lights at
crazy.
nighttime. There's no street lights. Like I'll tell you, there's wild things that used to happen, and I'm sure it still happens in that cemetery because it's like it's its own thing, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so did you guys party in like the cemeteries and stuff? Was it big like that?
So we have a lot of scattered cemeteries. Obviously, we don't have the land geography in Brooklyn that we do in parts of Pennsylvania. So within, I would say, a 10-mile radius, there's probably half a dozen, if not more, cemeteries. Some very small, less than a block, and then some that are several acres. There was one cemetery in particular uh, going up McDonald Avenue. I forget the name of the cemetery, but it was underneath the L train. We have an elevated train. The F train is the line. It's the F line, and it's raised, elevated. So we would call it the L train, even though it's the F line of the train that would go in and out of Coney Island. And when you go down that train line going towards Church Avenue, there was one of the biggest cemeteries that has all the mausoleums.
Yeah.
And his kids, a lot of people I knew and grew up with would hang out, break into the mausoleums, be in the cemetery late night doing all kinds of, obviously, use your imagination. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a thing, but it wasn't something like a go-to on a regular basis, because more than likely you were going to get chased out of there by the cops.
Really?
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not in the first 10 minutes, but um, it would usually turn into five or more people, and then they would patrol. They do patrols. They would drive around. They shine the lights. They see anybody in there after hours, because you would have to hop the fence. They would definitely make it known that they were there and they didn't want you there, and they'd give chase. That happened several times, and it's also a place where people used to go when they wanted to, I guess, be involved in certain things that they wanted to hide from prying eyes. That was like a popular location for that at certain times as well. Yeah, so that was a thing, just probably on a little bit of a different scale than in your area.
Right. Uh, it just, now that we're talking about cemeteries and partying, I'm remembering a whole lot of crazy stuff that happened back in the day. Uh,
Yeah,
same stuff though. Like, man, the um, there's actually, the reason for the size of that cemetery is because there's two different cemeteries, one smaller one bigger one, right beside each other, and so it makes for this massive thing. Some of it's completely still just woods.
mm,
Um, they actually have to have people hunt it because the deer population will get way out of control.
control. Yeah, yeah.
My I was working. This is probably 15 years ago, but my buddy I was working with, I known him since I was a kid. Sends me a picture of his. It was his girlfriend at the time with his two kids, one in a stroller and one walking, and they like walk through the cemetery. Sends him a picture, says, "Look at this cute dog. It's a freaking coyote." And
I was thinking
I'm
that when
like,
you got me.
dude, tell her to get out of there like as fast as possible, but don't run. Because if you can see a coyote, you're on the menu and it's trying to figure out if it can grab you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
just sit there and stare at things that, like, look at that. It's
Well,
deciding whether or not it's going to eat one of you, right?
that's what we would call that. Like where I grew up is the coyote is sizing you up
Yeah.
in a sense. Like it's looking at you like, all right, can I take this person? Like, can I
Yeah.
play this person as a victim, or am I going to get my ass kicked?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
yeah,
I mean, that's what it is, in the wild, and this is inherent in people. It's something in the genetics, right? Like when you look at somebody, if you have that mindset, you're deciding whether or not it's worth the risk, right? Because in the wild, animals get injured, it's almost a death sentence, right? So like
yeah, yeah.
easy pickings, what, like a kid in a stroller, right? Like, or a small child, or somebody that looks hurt, or somebody that, like, they pick up on that shit. If you're in a cane and you're walking through the woods, and one of them see you, you're on the menu. It's deciding whether or not the possible risk of it getting hurt is going to be easy. Where are we at on this scale? This is all running through this animal's head. And here's her like, look at this dog. And I'm like, dude, you got to tell them to skedaddle, man, for real, because it could get wild. And like I said, it's so big, like it's a massive place. You call for help, no one's coming, because like at the very least somebody might be able to beat her, but nobody that's going to make a difference is going to be able to beat her. No one's going to hear you. Somebody might be at a grave. I mean, unless they're packing, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, what are they going to do? And there's always the risk of that coyote having a pack somewhere near. And
Yeah.
if they, like you said, it feeds off of the person to person. So the tone of the voice, or if like they hear a young small baby crying, they might start salivating. Where if they hear like a deeper voice that's more aggressive, their ears may stand up like, okay, that sounds like somebody's exerting some force and maybe not worth it. It sounds like an intimidating, aggressive sound more so than a woman, or like, a soft spoken person. So
No, I mean,
yeah,
exactly. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into that, but a crying baby is exactly one of them, because
yeah.
they know inherently, like,
The,
that's
the,
if you've ever heard. there's calls for coyotes, and it's a an injured rabbit, right?
Yeah.
An injured rabbit screaming sounds eerily similar to like a child screaming in terror.
Yeah.
Uh, and you know, when you, I've seen videos. I've never actually tried this myself, but I've seen videos where there's guys perched underneath like a tree in full camo. You couldn't see them if you didn't know what you were looking for. And they play one of these recordings, you know, 10 feet out in front of them. And this one video was like, you know, if you don't understand this, these are the type of videos you need to watch so you can understand what you're dealing with. This thing's running so fast that like, you know, full
Galloping.
fucking speed,
Galloping.
coming up over this fucking mountaintop, and you could see it coming down. And the guy got a shotgun, and he shoots it, and it's moving so fast that before it stops, it's sliding to him. You know what I mean? Like that's
Once it
rolling.
realized like it needed
Yeah,
to hit the
yeah,
brakes.
like, you know, like they hear something, they think you're on the menu, and then that's it. Once the decision's made, and it's all in. But I mean, that's my point about saying some of that is because that also relates to some of the things that people in today's world are very, very pampered. I like to try to keep it PG. Uh, they don't have any idea what is outside of their comfort zone. You know, like they don't have any idea the
They're
danger
too
that they.
yeah, they're too reliant on modern
Yeah,
accessibility to things. They have no self-sufficiency to treat their own wound or deal with their own rodent or pest problem or whatever it may be. Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
I'm always thoroughly shocked at most things, but like people become so in tuned to the way they think things should be, right? Like, I don't have to worry about this because of this, right? I don't have to do this because of this. But the truth is the only reason that you don't have to right now is because there's a perception of safety that isn't really there, but you think that you're safe, so you feel safe.
It's a
And
comfortable illusion. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's like widespread. Like, you know, it's sort of like a mind virus in a way where it's like you don't we I never heard of anybody getting attacked by a coyote around here, so I don't have to worry about it. Well, there's a coyote right there. Right, and that coyote is deciding whether or not it's going to eat you, and you don't even know it's a coyote. You think it's a dog. So, how do you know? Right? Like, you know, like how do you know what danger you're in if you're not, you know, doing that? But I don't, not to get off on all these wildlife topics because it's supposed to be an interview for you. But
But
you know,
it
these are
correlates.
tangents. I can go on these tangents because I always bring it back to the same stuff that goes on in my mind whenever I'm like, you know, I don't understand people anymore. I don't understand why everyone would feel a certain they got their whoopee, so they feel like they're safe. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
you grew up Graves what?
Gravesend.
Gravesend. Okay.
Yeah.
Um you still live in Gravesend?
No, I moved. I actually relocated. I moved out of Brooklyn and came out to Staten Island, Richmond County, about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe even longer. I got away from Brooklyn, the property value, the congestion, the overcrowdedness, all the nonsense. I mean, we could be here till the sun comes up if I'm listing all the negatives. And, it was difficult because it was all I was used to. Now, people, you know me a little bit more than obviously people seeing me for the first time here. But even though I'm a native New Yorker, I also had the privilege from a very young age. So my father and my mother are both born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. But when my grandparents, my father's family, when my father was only 16, 17 years old, decided to move to Pennsylvania. And they moved to, Pocono Summit, uh, west of Harrisburg. And this was in I'm going to say this was in, the late 60s, early 70s. My grandfather bought a plot of land, built a house for my grandmother. My father comes from 9 brothers and sisters. So growing up as a child, since I was born, every summer or every vacation, I was in Pennsylvania. I was in either the Poconos or somewhere further out. I had family in Arizona, Florida. So I am cultured in the sense where
Hmm.
that very much an outdoorsman. I'm very much into nature. You know, I'm not into hunting. You know, when I was younger, all my uncles, my cousins were very much into hunting. As I've gotten older, I've lost interest in it. You know, I don't like sport hunting. I would obviously to survive. But the point I'm trying to make is, I'm like official, unofficial Pennsylvanian at heart, in the sense of my experience. You know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, doing stuff that people who grew up in, you know, Pennsylvania and states like that did. I wasn't just in New York City with that as my only experience. So I kind of got.
All right, hang on for a minute. Can you hear me? That is a crazy sound. Something crazy's happening. It's dude, this is wild. It sounds like there's somebody eating. Let me see. All right, can you hear anything now? This is wild. Dude, I wish you could. What the fuck? All right, can you hear anything now at all? Dude, it's the craziest sound I've ever heard. It sounds like somebody's eating a bag of chips.
Like right in your face.
Like no joke. I don't even know how it's possible. You were right in the middle of talking and it just stopped. And now it sounds like somebody's eating chips.
It's when we stop all the guys down in like an echo. We're definitely hearing our voices, but it's turning into some sort of feedback. That's what that is. It's a feedback.
All right, let me let's drop this and then we'll come right back.